I'm Raven.
And I'm Ahmaad.
And we're the Hoods. I do that every time. That's really funny. Welcome to Hood Tales, where we take you through the ups, downs, and merry-go-rounds of millennial marriage. Sometimes I be feeling like Bow Wow. Really Sierra. I ain't never had nobody show you what I did. That's what I be feeling like. Because
that's so funny.
Whew, sometimes that one breath be whooping my tail. I be like, that SpongeBob meme where he be like,
you sound like a black mama.
my Lord, today. Sometimes I be winded doing that.
What Medea say? Give me some oxygen.
I need some oxygen, okay? As my mama say, some oxygen. Actually, your oxygen, okay? She'll be mad. Whew. But this is not really a funny episode. That's why that we started it that way. I was out of breath to do that intro though. So Ahmaad has been on a vulnerability journey, which I feel like we all always are. But I don't want to call you an emotional wreck.
So,
but I feel like you have been on this journey, both pushed and now partially willingly. And so I feel like we need to talk about it on the podcast. Yeah, I know you're not happy wanting to share this vulnerability on the podcast.
Not at all.
So this is also an exercise in that.
Yes, it is. Which is also why I opt to do it.
Yes, I know that, and I'm very proud of you for that. You know what that is? Growth. Okay.
Shout out to Kelly.
Shout out to Kelly. Insecure is one of the greatest shows ever made. I first tasked you with being more emotionally open and like willing to share all parts of yourself. I want to say really, truly, always. Truly, always. But I didn't have words for it until, I want to say, when we got married, right? Was when like I actually had the words for the things that I was asking from you. I feel like a lot of it beforehand was just me asking questions. Asking questions about family dynamics, asking questions about fears, asking questions about goals and failures and all that, which was always slightly annoying to you, because
Slightly.
Only slightly. More than slightly.
Very much so, more than slightly.
Don't care.
I know.
But even then, I didn't have the words to realize that I was asking for vulnerability, and for emotional honesty, until I had the words, like the definitions for those words, to be like, oh yeah, that's what I want from him. So how do you feel about that?
Before we start down this path, I want it to be known that I hate this.
Serious face, Ahmaad. This is not a game.
Hate this. Okay.
He hates every part of it.
I don't like being vulnerable. I don't like people seeing me vulnerable. I don't even like people seeing me hurt after the gym. Okay. I just don't like it.
What Ahmaad really trying to say is that he does not want to feel those things.
No, I don't.
It's not about other people seeing you. It's about you having the feeling in the first place. Yeah.
That's why she's my wife.
Yeah, it's not about people seeing you with the feeling. It's the problem. The problem you have is the fact that you have the feelings to begin with.
Yeah, because what I need them for. Yeah. So when we first got together, Raven would always ask me, questions about my family, questions about myself, my fears and stuff, like she previously stated. And I hated it. I hated it every bit of it. And I also hated it because, if I take that back. If you don't know my wife, her being inquisitive could come off as shade.
That's true. I'm a shady person.
And for me, knowing her, having been her friend for as long as I have been, now, wonderful lover. I immediately took it as shade. I took it as an attack. Because, oh my God, everything boils down to family dynamic. Because Raven grew up in a household where You know, no stone was left unturned. You know, but I grew up in a household where some stones were left unturned. You know, and if they weren't left unturned, they were swept under the rug. You know, so when you get with somebody that knows themselves emotionally, you know, and you don't, and they're asking all of these questions and, you know, kind of prying, per se, you know.
No, prying.
It's annoying because now these questions are questions that's gonna get stuck in your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna answer these questions, whether you give the answers to them or not. Because that's the good and bad thing about being with somebody that knows themselves, you know, emotionally. They're gonna put a mirror right on you, buddy. And I hated it. And I don't hate it too much more now.
I was about to say, do you currently still hate it?
Because I've done the work and I'm still doing the work. I'm okay with it now. You know, I tell her that, you know, I hate this, but I'm gonna be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
And you have an attitude after the fact.
Every single solitary time.
Be mad that you shared that with me.
Every single time.
It takes everything within me not to bust out laughing because the anger on your face be so real. And I just be like, do not laugh. Do not. It's literally what I tell myself, do not laugh. Do not laugh. Do not laugh. Because I'm not laughing at you, but I am. Because, sir, why are you so mad? Not you mad right now.
I told you. I mean, what?
I feel like one of the biggest things that was one of my pushes for you to, like, one, be more vulnerable with me, and then also pushing you to, like, go to therapy was the fact that I know that you don't like to acknowledge your feelings, but, like, not acknowledging them does not mean that they don't exist.
That's true.
And so because of that, and I think that because we got married so young, that's like we can nip a lot of the things that cause people to get divorced 20 years from now in the bud right now. Because I want to set the standard of you sharing all parts of yourself with me right now. Right now.
I feel that. Right now.
So that way in 5 years, if something arises and I feel like you step back from that it's still uncomfortable. Like, you know, it's as much of an open book as I am, it is still uncomfortable for me because certain stuff I may not still have the words for, and or if it's something that has triggered me, it's even harder to regurgitate that. You know, and not even necessarily something that you did to me, but like, you know, just in general. But I want it to be known now that the standard is emotional integrity, emotional honesty, both with yourself and then with me.
But you know what the difference is?
What?
Something can be uncomfortable for you and you still do it.
Yes.
Whereas, because, you know, I got to get this out.
Yes.
But for me, because I grew up in a household to where, you know, my parents will allow me to feel my feelings, but that wasn't what they showed me. That wasn't the behavior that they
exhibited.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't what I took on. You know, so I'm good with inner turmoil. Oh, I ain't got to talk about it. I'm good. If you ask me, oh, what's wrong? I'm good. I'm just fine.
You're not okay with inner turmoil. You learn to live with it, but that does not make you okay with it.
Say what you want.
That does not make you okay.
Say what you want to.
You are literally like a Russian doll. I actually said this to my therapist.
Stop telling me.
She's the only person I've said it to out loud. It's an analogy I have for you, but I said it to her. I probably will, but I was like, Ahmaad is literally like a Russian doll. I said he's the big doll on top, right? I said over him, there's 20 other little dolls inside. That is just another little compartment upon compartment upon compartment upon compartment because he's a compartmentalizing king. Okay? That's what he do. That's just what you do.
Most people know me as a barber, but you know, clearly my wife knows me as a compartmentalizing king.
That's what you are.
Some people call me a nice guy. I don't know, but you know, my wife says
that don't make you not a nice guy. Shut up. Do not do that. Don't try to make this a comedy split because it's not what this is. Because I know you. You're deflecting.
Also, why I didn't want to do this.
So, how do you feel like you got to the point where, or what led you to the point of ignoring your feelings? Because you said that your parents allowed you to feel your feelings.
Just like I previously stated, you know, growing up with that, you know, because that wasn't the behavior that was exhibited, that wasn't the behavior that I, you know, decided to take on.
So you said monkey see, monkey do.
Exactly. Because you can tell me all day not to be out here, you know, having kids out of wedlock. But
you ain't had no kids out of wedlock.
I mean, no, but that's what I'm saying. Just an example.
Oh.
But
they told you that too.
But the example is.
Oh, not touche. You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
You can tell me not to eat past 8 o'clock, but if I see you out here having a 10:43 snack, I'm probably gonna end up doing the same thing. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel like therapy has led you to the points where like I don't feel like you're in a spot where you like have breakdowns all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you kind of did early in therapy.
For sure.
Early in therapy, there was a lot of like random and yet consistent moments of breakdown that were very, as much as I pushed for you to like go to therapy and address these feelings, it was an adjustment. It wasn't a shock for me to realize that you were actually doing it because you hadn't for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So like it took a lot of work also on my part for you when you come to me and you say, hey, I want to say this, and or you're just crying and I'm just like like what was happening here? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you are feeling feelings. Do you feel that, stranger? That's a unfamiliar feeling to you. How does that feel? But like having to like brace myself for the fact that you were now feeling unfamiliar feelings that you were not allowing yourself to feel. And I feel like a lot of times it really just comes up as tears, which is fine because I feel like that's like you know they say all the time that your body holds trauma. And I feel like the best way or the easiest way for our bodies to release that is through tears. You can keep still facing me all you want in this podcast, so it's not gonna end.
It's okay. It's gonna do it. It's gonna end. I'll tell you that.
Eventually. But I feel like you're not in an emotionally volatile state any longer. Mm-hmm. Not like that. I feel like some things have gone on recently that have like led you to be a little bit more, I don't want to say fragile because that's not the word I'm looking for, but a little bit more attuned to what you are feeling and allowing yourself to process all of it, both internally but externally, by having conversations with me, by talking to your therapist about it, which is also another level of vulnerability, because you were willing to share with a stranger things about your life, things about our marriage, or whatever. I don't know what all you talk about with that lady, none of my business, but whatever, with the complete stranger, like from the get-go. Yeah, you should be proud of that.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't. Because as much as I'd be like, Yeah, I go to therapy. That's cool. I don't be wanting to do it. But I do it because it helps me to be honest with myself. Because I'm going to keep it a buck with you. You know, if I'm going to be paying you money,
well,
you know, I should be getting something out of this.
I'm leaving here with something.
You know,
I'm from around the way.
Around the way.
I'm leaving here with something.
Listen.
You is from around the way. Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely feel like
my bad. That was sitting right there. I couldn't let that one slide.
Yeah, therapy has allowed me to be honest with myself. There was also even a point to where I was going to therapy for like 6-7 months. And I was like, you know, I've told this lady everything that I possibly felt like I could. I'm going to not go, you know.
Is that why you stopped going and just didn't say nothing?
No. And I told Raven I was ready to be done. And she was like, you know, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, you know, I feel like I'm good. And I came back later and told her, you know what, I actually am going to keep going to therapy because I don't want to start lying to myself again. It forces you to see yourself. And in those moments, you know, where you're not seeing yourself, you can lie to yourself about what you're feeling, you know, or you can, like she said, compartmentalize what you're feeling, you know, and act like it's not there. And because I do it, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna do it. If I can put it in a pocket, I'm gonna do it. It's okay. But okay, because of therapy, you say what?
That's okay, Mr. Drummer.
Hey. So therapy has allowed me to, you know, be more emotionally honest with myself. Therefore, in turn, being emotionally honest with my wife and really emotionally honest with everybody else.
So since this doesn't come easy to you, or it hasn't, or it still doesn't, so since it doesn't come easy to you, does it make you feel like you lack as a husband in that area? Or did it ever make you feel like that? We never talked about it, so I am curious if that ever made you feel like that.
Yes.
Really?
Which is one of my top reasons for going to therapy. Because, you know, you were asking this of me isn't asking me to, you know, take out the trash or, you know, do the dishes, you know, or
very tangible things.
Yeah, or even have sex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all totally different things. But if you want me to be emotionally honest, that's a whole different beast. You know, and I didn't like it when she, you know, would ask me to be emotionally honest, but I would rather painstakingly crawl through therapy to painfully walk through a divorce.
That's a word. Let the church say yes.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
I did not know that you feel like that.
Yes.
Did I make you feel like that?
No, but the questions did. And sometimes questions can be perceived as, you know, feelings. And for me, with you, it was perceived that way. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get it. Because what you're saying is your lack of an answer.
And if you're continuously asking me questions for me to be emotionally honest, and I'm not giving you answers, that's a wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And walls are meant to keep folks out of stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So the longer you ask the more walls I'm putting up, the more it's just gonna be distance. You know what I'm talking about?
Come on, illustrative, serve me.
So, yeah, the more distance, the less we are becoming one and just being two in a household. Therefore, ending in divorce.
Would you like to collect the offering? No, put your head back down. You got a little speak. No, she don't. She don't have no little speak.
I cut it off.
She don't have one. That's good. I am very proud of you in this episode.
I am not.
You should be. I know you're not right now, but I think you will once you hear how it resonates.
When I re-listen to this.
Yeah, you should be very proud of yourself.
Thanks.
For discussing this on here and even having newfound vulnerability within this podcast.
Yeah.
Episode. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm sorry that you felt that way, but I guess it was true in a sense. Because I understand that you know, all of the normal things to ask a husband to step up to the table to do, help out around the house, you know, like you said and stuff, are all very tangible things that you can do and measurable things.
And things that I do.
But even if you weren't, right? Like if I said I needed more of that,
yeah,
you know, those are very tangible things to do, right? That you may have to be mindful of to remind yourself to do, like the to-do list that we talked about in last week's episode, but not necessarily being emotionally honest and confronting and feeling feelings that you have not allowed yourself to feel, or answer questions that you yourself have not answered for yourself, let alone asked or let yourself think about or address or whatever, is a lot harder to do for yourself, let alone to share with someone else. And I can see how that can make you feel like you are not a good husband because you're unable to rise to that expectation because it's something that you have not expected of yourself, which is also why I wanted to nip it in the bud right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want this to be a problem in 10 years. You know, I don't want that to be the reason of that your inability. And I know that also takes a lot of work. So like, it was never something that I expected to happen immediately, which is why I continue to pry, for lack of better words, to, you know, ask questions, because I do genuinely want to know the answer, right? Like I want to be able to notice when your triggers are happening, or notice when, you know, you are self-sabotaging, because I know that that's a thing, or like, you know, or give you a certain perspective because I know
about
the truth about it, you know what I'm saying, or your truth about that, which I'm not gonna use it here, but that's why I feel like I did at Keandre's house.
I know. I wasn't gonna say that, but I was gonna say that.
Yeah. No, that ain't for the podcast.
Yeah.
that ain't for the podcast.
Maybe season 6 or something. I don't know.
It's up to y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? We could have your dad on here. But hey, that's also on YouTube channel. About that. Anyway, but I know I fully understand how that can make you feel like that, and that was never my intention, because it just wasn't. You know what I mean? Like your inability to. I fully understood that it was not something that you have allowed yourself to do, right? But me asking questions was my way of trying to get you to open that up. You know, and it worked. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? It took a few years, which is fine, because I also know that emotional work takes work, and it takes time for you to even be able to process you were 27 when you started therapy? How old are you? You about to be 30? You was 28?
Yeah.
But that's 28 years of life that you now have to address.
Yeah.
That through me asking questions, through therapy, are now maybe even just coming back to your memory for the first time. that, you know, like that's a whole lifetime of things to process and address, and that's not going to happen overnight, and to heal from.
Yeah.
You know, and to, you know, realize whatever has happened, how that has impacted where you are now, the choices that you make now, the things that you want out of life later. Like, you know, and I don't want us to be 40 trying to do that. Because our life expectancy is like 60 these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, the world is ending. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't no doomsday, the Lord is coming back type of thing. That is literally just like the earth itself. Like, the earth itself is dying. Like, we have maybe another 30 years. And I do mean maybe. Right. So, like, you know, I don't want, you know, God forbid we keep on going. Well, God forbid. What mama was saying, Lord willing, we keep on going. That I don't want us to be, for the first time, having that discussion. Then. Because that is a lifetime of marriage of life together. Mm-hmm. That is uninhabited intimacy.
Yes.
And knowing of yourself and knowing of the other person, that I just feel like it's wasted. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that the marriage before then is not good, like you're not happy, like you're not, you know, but like, I feel like that is where the soulmate thing comes in, right? And I feel like I just didn't want us to wait until that time, until we're old, or our marriage is old, truly, to now be requiring that. Because I would leave. Yeah. Because I would leave. Do you feel like I congratulate you enough on the work you have done? I know that I've congratulated you a lot in this episode, but that's because I can see in the moment I can see in the moment your vulnerability happening.
Yeah, I think you do. Because even a few weeks ago when I was vulnerable with you about a particular topic, even after, you know, I told you also I hate this, and I wish I wouldn't have told you that, but I did.
With an attitude just like that.
Yes. You were like, you know, thank you for sharing with me, because, you know, I know that wasn't easy. You know, so like, and usually every time after I'm vulnerable, you say that, you know, and vice versa. So I do feel like you congratulated me enough.
Okay, good. Because I know words of affirmation is really big for you. And I know that because that's not something that I need, it is something that I do have to like remind myself to do, because I don't need the praises like that. And so I try to do that in those moments. And it's also just thanking you for allowing me to gain another perspective. Like, especially on that particular situation, I was like, everything makes so much sense. Like, now I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, what felt like this crazy, like, that makes no sense to me thing also made sense partially, you know what I'm saying? But like, now it's like, oh, I'm just doing blind minds. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. So also thank you for, you know, giving me clarity on something that had nothing to do with me, but you know, on where that an issue resonates from or started at. It just literally was like, oh, got it. You know what I mean? Like, I now know another level of you deeper because you shared this. So thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
Easy or not, thank you for letting me know. You know? Do you have anything else you'd like to add? I'm also in therapy too. I think I mentioned that, but it's interesting to see how the vulnerability journey continues.
Your episode coming up.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't script the episodes, I do.
It's okay.
You don't script these. I do.
It's alright. You gonna script one.
Who knows? Maybe in season 4. That's in another 10 weeks, so that's a lot more
work to be done.
Okay. I'm actually perfect, so rephrase that. Thank you.
No.
Do you have anything else to add before you get this on the bad note? Are you sure? Do you have a hood highlight for today's episode?
For yourself alone, doing the work to be emotionally honest is worth it.
That's a word. You are full of gems on this episode. That you know what else that is? Growth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming from someone who is not big on self, I am a living witness that doing the work is worth it just for you and you alone. So, yeah. That's it.
That's good.
Do you have a highlight?
My hood highlight would have to be to be willing to continue to try to knock down Jericho's wall, baby.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, because the wall of Jericho, it did come down.
Listen.
It took him 7 times to march around.
But you had to go around.
You had to go around it and be willing to continue to march around the wall.
Yeah.
Because eventually it will come down. Well,
yes.
the hope is that eventually it will come down. And to be patient for it too.
Yes.
Because especially when you are asking for such a daunting task as being emotionally integrity, having emotional integrity and being emotionally honest, girl, that is hard. That's hard with me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a hard thing to do just as an individual, let alone to share with another person. Even being with the right person and sharing those parts of you are still hard. Like, that doesn't make it easy just because that person, the other spouse, knows that you love them, knows that you care for them, knows that you only want the best for them, right? Mm-hmm. That you're not asking for this, for them to be emotionally honest, to hold it over their head, to be spiteful. Like, that's never, assuming good intent, but that doesn't make it any easier at all. Doesn't make it easier just because of that. Yeah, that's my highlight. Thank you for I know I've said thank you a lot and like saying that you're doing a good job and stuff, but you really are,
I appreciate it.
And I don't sing praises for nothing. So I am proud of the work that you have done. It is very evident, both with me, but especially with other people, which is also beautiful to see, because I feel like that was one of the areas that you lacked a lot, was having emotional boundaries with other people. But even just noticing that growth, and I'm just like, look at him being a big boy here in these streets.
I'm already big. I'm just
hush, okay, sir.
All right.
But
I appreciate it.
No,
I really do. And to be perfectly honest, it actually feels good being emotionally honest. It's a It is a breath of fresh air to not have inner turmoil.